Hi friends, it's Victor Costa and welcome to the Daily Lift. I hope you're having an outstanding day and I hope today's podcast makes it even better for you. I'm going to be very matter of fact with you today and share with you an experience that I had just today. I was walking in the street and a man of about 65 to 70 years old answered his telephone and said, "Oh, hey, Dad." Now, I would assume that his dad was probably in the neighborhood of 90, could have been as high as 95 years old, perhaps even as old as 100. And my first reaction was, how dare he? How dare he have a father at his age when a younger man like me lost his dad at age 61? I mean, this guy's older than my father and he's saying hello to his father. And how dare he have that? That's not how life should be. That's not how time should pass. That's not how consequences should turn out. And I thought to myself, that's terrible that I don't have a dad and he has a dad at his older age. And I felt bad. I felt terrible initially, and then I felt terrible for thinking about that. How dare I? How dare I be so self-centered and selfish and so focused on myself? I mean, all this man did was answer his phone to probably talk to his dad about the morning paper or the ball game or an episode of a show that they both liked. And one thing felt terrible. The initial reaction felt terrible. And I said to myself, how am I going to reconcile this? How am I going to get myself out of this feeling? And I focused on how wonderful it is to have a father. And that he, at his age, was still getting to experience that. And the wonderful thing, even though the gap in age remains the same of when you're little to, and when your dad is maybe 25 or 30 years older than you are, even though the gap has remained the same in this man's life, the experiences seem to become more narrow. And how nice is it that he gets to share the idea and the history of having grandchildren together, right? These are more shared experiences as people get older. And they both have, you both have gray hair now. You both have aches and pains now. You both have more in common than you ever have. Even though the gap remains the same, there is more shared in common. And my first reaction felt absolutely horrible. It was shameful. But it was natural, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. It's the first reaction that I had. And the reason that it felt so horrible is because I was focused on my own misery rather than focused on someone else's joy. And that's the key. Every subject has, as Esther Hicks would say, two subjects. There's two sides of every coin. And so the way I reconciled this and the way I felt better was I thought to myself all the joys of having a father, of being able to share experiences with someone, to talk to somebody on the phone, and to just, have wonderful things in common. And when I got out of my own idea and concept of what my life was supposed to be like, rather than what it is for me and what it is for other people. When I stopped the supposed tos and I stopped the concept of jealousy, and this isn't how things are supposed to work out, I suddenly got out of my own head and started to recognize the marvelous thing that I had experienced, the idea today that I was able to exercise myself out of self-centeredness, selfishness in an unhealthy way, and move toward appreciation. Move toward misery to suddenly appreciation for what someone else was getting an opportunity to enjoy. To recognize that life is not the same for all of us, and it's not supposed to go down that way either. That there really is no lack. We each have different things. I didn't think for a minute that how wonderful it is that I have my mother, and maybe he didn't have his. Now, when we give ourselves an opportunity to relax and work these things out, we suddenly get to understand that there is no person that has it better than anyone else. And so the need for comparison, the need for jealousy, the need for understanding or thinking that the grass is always greener is just a myth. It's something that we've come up with that isn't necessarily true. So today I wanted to share with you the idea that you can work yourself out of things like jealousy or how things are supposed to go down by simply appreciating the alternative, simply appreciating someone else's reveling in the things that they have. Don't think about the lack of things that you have. Revel and enjoy the things that other people have or they've been able to be lucky enough to have in their lives. And when you go from just the lack mindset to an appreciation and an understanding, and even, I wasn't even thinking about my father today, actually. And he reminded me today of all of the good things that, and good experiences that I had with my father. My dad wasn't on my mind until that moment. And I should have been thanking this man for bringing my dad back into my immediate consciousness to say hello to him in sort of a way from my heart to his, or just to have a memory of him today. The man was giving me a gift, and I was just thinking about all the things that I didn't have. And that's not a good way to go through life. And so today's podcast, I don't know if it's going to help you. I think of these concepts or these things that happen to me throughout the day, and I somehow feel as though they can offer some positive outlook to you. And so that's why I wanted to share this with you today. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and I wish you all good health. Victor Costa signing off for the Daily Lift.